Hello and welcome. If you're on this early, you are probably watching the replay. And so let me know, hit hashtag replay in the comments. And I have to say my eye looks crazy today. I slept wrong. So that crease has been there. So it kind of looks, I don't know, like I did my makeup funny. But it's just the way I slept and it's been there for hours now. Interesting, right? So I hope everybody is doing good and had a good recharge weekend. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I'm always talking about the importance of recharging, rejuvenating, and taking care of yourself. Self-care is so very important, especially making it through times like that we're in now. Just always being self-aware, taking care of yourself, recharging for the week, it will make you a better leader. So a couple things I wanted to talk about today. I am going to be making a couple changes to how I do things. I usually go live on Fridays. Friday evenings around 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when I usually go live in this group, just to give you guys some quick tips and whatnot. But I am going to be changing that to Mondays. And the reason for that is because the Monday is the beginning of our week. And a lot of what I teach on is mindset, right? So mindset is so important to start your week. And that's really how I start my week every week. I go through and I do my strategic advisory with my business coach. And then I go and make my strategic plan every week. And I really start my weeks strategizing and getting my mindset ready for the week and coming up with a plan. So I was thinking about it, like, I always do my lives at the end of the week, but they would probably be better served if I did them at the beginning so that you can use them to plan your week and to just motivate and have something to focus on throughout the week. So that's what we're going to start doing. I'm going to just really start focusing on things to help you get through the week and tips and tricks and business ideas to help make your business stronger. And so today what I want to talk to you about is really focusing on your center and the business structure. And it's times like this that you can really detect areas that you may need to focus to make your center stronger. And this also goes for your own mental health, right? Because the stronger your center is, the better you'll be able to sleep at night, the more that you will be able to take care of yourself. So when we are going through chaotic times like we're seeing in 2020, everything just seems so out of control no matter where you are in the world right now. That self-care is so important, and having your business structure in a good place will really help with that self-care also. It really will help just relieve a lot of your anxiety. So something I want you guys to think about this week and really focus on for this week and then into July is, what do you want out of your center? Do you want a company that is self-led and self-sustaining, or do you want a childcare center that is individual-led and cannot live without you? Most owners and directors are in a place where they can't delegate, right? Because they don't know how to delegate, really. And they usually blame their team. So I know a lot of you are thinking immediately like, oh, well, my team. That's not true, you guys. It is always in the leader. Anybody can be led. It's how the leader leads, right? So something I really want you to focus on, do you want your company to be self-led and self-sustaining, or do you want it to be something that it's stuck with you? So that is where your processes and procedures are really going to come into place. And training your staff, learn how to duplicate yourself, right? That is how I've built my company. And now I've taught my director how to duplicate herself, and her assistant director is duplicating herself, so that we can have multiple centers. And so I don't have to be at my center every day, all day. Now, through the worst of COVID, I was there all day, every day, because I felt it was important for me as the owner to have my face out there for parents, to let my staff know that they're not in this alone. One of my biggest business principles is I will never ask my staff to do anything that I am not willing to do myself. So when I chose to stay open through COVID, I decided if I am telling them that they need to be here, then I need to be here too. during this time. So that's just one principle that I've really stuck with over time. I'm sorry, guys. Next week, I will have my office, and I won't have to deal with barking dogs any longer. And Mira, come here. Come here, baby. I'm sorry. My overgrown puppy. Come here. Come say hello. Going to say hi to you guys so I can speak. So basically just really focus on if you want a self-led company or if you want to always be the end all and go all. You know what? I will put my dogs out. I'll be right back, you guys. Come on. Go outside. Oh, real life work during COVID, right? That is what we get right now. But next week, I'll have my she shed office done, and I will be able to start doing these recordings without any interruptions. I do so much work via Zoom right now, and it's crazy. I'm like, my dogs drive me crazy, but sorry about that, you guys. So back to just focusing, and say hi if you've popped on and let me know you're there. Also, be sure if anything I'm saying you have questions on, be sure to ask questions in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. So again, self-led company versus a company that is just married to you and cannot sustain without you. Training is key, you guys. Coaching your staff, duplicate yourself. Learn how to duplicate yourself. This is something I really teach my members how to do. It is my main focus for my members, is to give them that freedom. Not only will you take your life back as an owner or director, but you will also have a more profitable center. You'll have higher quality for the children. So it's just so much better all the way around. You're providing better quality for the children. You are taking your life back, so you're less stressed, you're less just frazzled all the time, right? So you're probably going to be a nicer person that way. And you're also giving your family that time back. You're empowering your staff, and you have a higher quality business model. So it really is better all the way around for everything not to revolve around you. And you guys, you can do it, I promise you. I am a control freak. It was a very hard process for me to do this. Very, very hard on me because, I blamed everybody else, but I didn't realize that it was me. It was because I didn't want to let go of control, and I wasn't properly training my staff. So once I got that training in line, and once I was able to let go of the control, it all fell into place. So, and if that's something you really struggle with, that is something I can help you with. Just let me know and we can schedule a consultation. The other thing too is we often look at short-term strategy instead of long-term goals, right? So we're always being reactive instead of proactive. We're always putting out fires instead of stopping fires from happening. Think about how the fire department works, right? I back to desert. My house backs to BLM land, and it is just desert. Wildfires are a huge, huge risk. So every year at the beginning of the season in the spring, if this happened like maybe 2 months ago, the fire department goes out and they clear a bunch of land behind my house, right? And it basically has nothing on it, nothing at all. But they do that to prevent the fires from coming close, right? And it's preventative. It's better to be proactive instead of reactive. So really learning what are the things that are always happening to you that are setting you back, that are really causing problems for you. Come up with plans to stop that from happening. Put people in place to stop it from happening. If you're losing a lot of customers all the time and you feel like your center is a revolving door, instead of reacting constantly and getting angry at your staff for not retaining or whatever, blaming them, ask yourself, what kind of policies, procedures, and training do I have in place for stopping this from happening? You guys, everything starts with you as the leader. It trickles down. So you as the leader can make the change here. And it doesn't have to be that you're at your center all the time. I'm only at my center maybe anywhere from 10 to 20, 30 hours a week, right? But on average, I'm at my center maybe 15 to 20 hours a week. I'm not there very much. But what I've done is I've automated my processes. I've systematized everything. so that I don't have to be there. And then I've trained people and I've duplicated myself in a couple different people, right? So that they can run my programs and I don't have to be there. And then I've taught them to duplicate themselves. So think about that. If you take a couple of people, duplicate yourself, and then they're duplicating that, how many, it's almost like you've got your philosophies and everything that you teach just being taught all over. That is exactly what I do in order to run my centers and have the successful childcare centers I have. Even through COVID, you guys, my center didn't miss a beat. Did my enrollment go down? Yes. But my business did not. Well, and my enrollment actually stayed. My attendance went down, but the enrollment never went down. Our wait list never went below 300 children, and we called every single one to make sure that they were still on the wait list. We called every single one of our families. So just keep that in mind. It is doable. So really kind of just keep focused. Ask yourself, do I want my center to always be what I live for, right? Is the center always, or does my life have to revolve around my center? Or do I want my center to revolve around me? So that's going to take systems, processes, and procedures. And then also ask yourself, do I really want to continue living with short-term policies and strategies, short-term strategies, procedures, instead of having a long-term plan? Do I always want to be reactive instead of proactive? Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't constantly put out fires and you were able to just see things flow? So much better that way, you guys. Life is so much easier. I have been the owner and director who's done it both ways. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have a neurological disease. Part of the reason I do is because I worked myself into getting sick. I worked 60, 70 hours a week at one point because I refused to delegate. And I am a God girl. And, you know, during the time I was praying and I knew God was telling me to slow down, step back, but I did not want to let go of control. That was me. So, you know, I'm a firm believer that God allowed me to get the neurological disease I now have because it was his way of forcing me to slow down. And it's funny how at the time I was so angry and so resentful, but now I'm somewhat grateful. I'm actually very grateful because it has turned me into the leader that I am, the mother I am, and it has forced me to slow down. And if you haven't been watching me for a while, I'll tell you, I've said this in the past, so you might have already heard this, but with I have narcolepsy with cataplexy. And I am, in order to manage it medication free, I actually have to schedule 2 naps a day. Okay. So you guys think about that. 2 naps a day. I know I've talked about this in one of my podcast episodes, I believe, where I was talking about just being compassionate with employees. In order for me to function, I cannot function without 2 20-minute naps a day. So I literally have to put it in my calendar. Otherwise, my body just completely shuts down and I'll just be gone for hours. So that was just when that happened and my life started becoming that way. That's when I was really forced to pull back and rely on other people. Before that, I just didn't want to let go of the control. So I wasn't allowing people to show me their full potential. I wasn't empowering them. I had everything in my head and I assumed that they knew. I always said to myself, like, why can't they get this? Don't they see what I'm doing? Why can't they just do what I'm doing? But that is not how the human brain works. And I'll tell you guys, you know, I have a degree in psychology. I should have known this. But, you know, my human nature, my A-type personality, automatically looked at everybody, automatically thought to myself, like, don't they see me sweeping? Why don't they do this? This should have been done. They should be thinking, oh, wow, the owner's sweeping my classroom. I should have just, but they don't. That is not how humans think. Some of them do. I mean, some are super self-conscious, right? But a lot of them don't. We cannot assume. That's why we have to create trainings, processes, procedures, and strategies. People do not know what's in your head. They do not expect to know just, you know, we should not expect just to know. And the other thing on that note is that they're not like us. We assume everybody is like us and they see the things we see, but they're not. Really keep in mind, you guys, do some temperament trainings. Temperament is great to know so that you can keep in mind the type of people that you're dealing with, right? Because if you're in a leadership position, you are probably A-type. We're go-getters. We want to achieve things. People who are B-type personalities, they're not like us. They aren't going to take those initiatives. They don't think like we do. They don't see the world like we do. We assume everybody sees the world like we do, but they don't. So we do have to constantly be telling them. We train our staff on, you're always explaining everything to a 2-year-old. And I don't want this to sound the wrong way. It's always, but it's kind of the same thing we have to do with our staff. It is the same thing, you guys. We can't assume that they know, okay? They are not in our heads. Most staff are not A-type personalities. When you get one that is, take them and make them grow. Make sure they stay with your company because they're gold to have. But there's nothing wrong with the B-type either. They're very important to our structure too. So don't assume that they're like you. Don't assume that they know. One of the things I train my managers all the time is that there is no such thing as common sense. Okay, what you think and what I think is common sense is not. There is no such thing as common sense. So get that idea out of your head and you will save yourself years of frustration and just, I guess, unmet expectations, right? So that is, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is don't expect people to just know what you want, know what should be done, and don't ever expect people to have common sense, because what common sense to you may not be common sense to me. Totally different things, right? I was brought up with a mother who is immigrated here from Honduras, so the things that I taught that are normal may not be the same things that you're taught as normal, even from regions, right? I mean, I'm on the West Coast. If you're on the East Coast, there's a lot of different things that to us are just like, doesn't everybody know that? But they don't, right? I mean, for me, I live in the desert. There's a lot of things I can guarantee you that, you might decide to go for a trail walk in the desert, but I know this time of year you don't do that because there's rattlesnakes out there. Well, you do, but you just got to be careful. So those are the things I really want you to keep in mind. Really focus on for the week. Ask yourself, do I really want to be self-sustaining, right? Or do I always want my business to depend on me? Do I want to be able to take a vacation? Do I want to be able to retire? Those are the things you really have to look at. Also look at, am I going to start being proactive or reactive? Am I going to start planning and having strategies so I'm not constantly putting out fires and I can stop the fires from happening? And then remember, most importantly, that there is no such thing as common sense, right? Stop having unrealistic expectations for your staff, your life, and your parents. You guys, not just staff, for your families too. You have to teach them. There is no such thing as common sense. Your life will be so much better if you stop putting that on people. And you guys, it is not their fault. It is your fault for putting unrealistic expectations on them. We just have to really change our mindset and let that go. I mean, everybody has different life experiences. Everybody has a different background. And that's where we get our mindset from. That's where we get our frame of thinking from and how we think, right? But a lot of times we project our own mindset and frame of thinking onto other people and assume that they just know, but they don't. So that's where I really challenge you to stop doing that. Make your expectations very clear, which means that they need to be in writing, they need to be communicated and verbalized, right? You've got to communicate with them. If you don't like the fact that when you walk into a classroom, the teachers haven't swept and you normally grab a broom and start sweeping yourself and think to yourself, like, why don't they see this? Why don't they see me doing this? They should just know. I challenge you to stop thinking that way. Go into the classroom and instead say to them, hey, I really don't like that there is food on the floor here right now. These classrooms always need to be tour ready. So please, from now on, I want them swept immediately. And you guys, I hate saying that whole they need to be tour ready because I think a lot of people, you might misunderstand what I mean by that. But there's a huge difference. One of the things I train my staff that I have to add, it's kind of a tangent, but is there's a difference between being dirty and messy, right? And I tell my staff all the time, in an early childhood classroom, messy is a good thing. It means that children are learning, they're growing. It means you're not too controlling, you're not having power struggles. Dirty is a bad thing. Dirty means that you're not sanitized, right? So if there's toys all over the floor, that's fine, totally fine. but it needs to be clean and sanitized, right? There should be no dust anywhere. I should be able to touch any surface, and I'm not going to find dirt and stuff, right? So just keep that in mind. I always have to add that because one of the biggest things I have to retrain, if I hire staff from another center, that is like the number one thing I have to retrain, is their sense of what does it mean to be dirty versus messy. And messy is just fine. That just means kids are playing, learning, and growing, and that you're not totally controlling. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. Those basically 3 main tips. And again, I am moving my Friday 4 p.m. lives to Monday mornings. So I will do them around this time. I've got to decide for sure if I'm going to, this morning I did it around 8:40 a.m., which is actually a pretty good time for me. So I will probably keep them around this time. But that way I can give you guys some tips and tricks to take out throughout the week, right? Instead of Friday at the end of the week and you're going into the weekend. But I really want to give things to you guys that you can apply to the week, that you can think about through the week and put into action, and also give you some motivation to get through the week. I know things are still really rough out there. The more I talk about to you guys, the more I just hear the exhaustion. So if I can help motivate you, help you get through your weeks, help you just stay focused on doing what's best for the children and the staff, that is really my goal. And coming up in July, I am going to be doing a free seminar for you guys, a 5-day, just like I did on the recession-proofing your childcare business. I'm going to be doing a free seminar on increasing enrollment in your childcare center. So it'll really just focus on tips and techniques you can use and put into practice in order to increase the enrollment in your center. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Make sure to leave me comments, and if you have any questions, just comment, and that's what I have for you guys today. Have a great evening or day.